Ooh, am I live? It said trying to reconnect. I think we're good. It's live. All right. Howdy, howdy, Facebook Nation. Dr. Markel with Healing Touch Chiropractic over here in West Fargo, North Dakota. You might call this God's country. I am one of two family chiropractors we have here in the office, Dr. Tiffany Johnson being the other one. She's also the owner of our beautiful practice. She's actually going to be logging on with us tonight. So if you've seen any of my other Facebook Lives, you might know that multitasking is not my strong suit. I get easily distracted by shiny balls, food, cute puppies, dirty dishes. I'm easily distracted. So she's going to be logging on so as you have my full attention, and I'm going to give you the most relevant, the most helpful information that I can. So a huge thank you to her for offering to be with us tonight and answer any questions that you might have. So as we wrap up the holiday season for the year, it becomes painstakingly obvious the large number of sick kids, sick families that are out there, all right? Unfortunately, as we see a drop in temperatures, we see a rise in colic, ear infections, allergies, asthma, cold and flu, sore throat, respiratory illness. The list goes on and on of the nasty stuff. But this is North Dakota, right? What can we do about it besides tough it out? And by tough it out, I mean haul the crew to the doctor's office because we are going to get 12 rounds of Z-Paks. We are going to get a whole bunch of antibiotics. And you know what? We'll probably have to do it again. Not just in a year, probably next month, because the effects never last. Okay, does this sound like your family's story? Or how about a friend or a coworker? Are you looking for something different, something that works, something that lasts, and for real answers? You have come to the right place. You have questions, we have answers. So we are going to be talking about the real issues, okay? So, like I said, thank you so much. I am glad and grateful that you are here because we are going to be blowing up some very common misconceptions that people have about their health, about sickness, about common childhood conditions, really. So the three things that we are going to be debunking are that ear infections, allergies, sinus issues, constipation, that junk is common. That it's normal. It is common. Is it normal? The second misconception, second myth that we are going to be debunking is that health is determined by our genetics. That just because my grandparents have poor health, my mom and dad are in poor health, I am automatically up the rhetorical health creek without a paddle. Here we go. And then the third myth is that health is all due to fate. It is Russian roulette for who gets ear infections, who gets allergies, who has nothing, who gets what. Those are all the stories and things that we've heard. Area. Those are the stories that we have heard for years and years and years, that there's something wrong with our body, and something wrong with our body correlates to we need inside or outside in help, okay? That's not the case at all. So before we get going into this, I want to know, for those of you who are already on here, what are you hoping to gain from tonight? What do you want to learn? What can I help you answer? If I don't have the answer, I'll help you find it, or I'll point you to a resource that does. Share in the comments what you'd like to learn, and like I said, we will do our best to address it for you here tonight. So, like I said, the common thing that we hear is that my body is broken, that I don't know how to do that. Even something as beautiful and miraculous as pregnancy and childbirth. There are so many interventions these days for everything that our body, nobody has any trust in our body, all right? And this isn't to make you feel bad or to shame you by any means, but the real issues that we have, we're gonna talk about them. So 1 in 5 kids these days, allergies. 1 in 10 kids, asthma. 1 in 9 kids, ADHD. 1 in 45, autism. 94% of kids have had at least one ear infection by the time they age they each range, they reach age 3, all right? What the heck is going on? America has got the best doctors, the best hospitals, the best medicines, but yet we are so sick. And it is not just the wintry months, it is year-round, folks. Those numbers that I just shared, they don't lie. We are sick. That is the real issue. So, why are our kids always sick? We're going to talk about it. Because once we know the issue, once we know the problem, the solution, the what to do part, that comes easy, right? We're also going to be talking about why the medicines, why the surgeries, why the countless rounds of antibiotics, why they don't work. And then I'm going to give you some safe, drug-free, natural action steps that you can take to best arm your family, not just this cold and flu season, but year-round. So again, if anybody's just tuned in, I'm Dr. Markel with Healing Touch Chiropractic in West Fargo. Dr. Tiffany Johnson will be joining us sometime tonight to answer any questions you might have as we dig into your kiddos and their immune systems. So with that, let's get chatting. So there are 2 main causes. Thanks for commenting those abs. So there are 2 main causes when we look at ear infections and allergies. We're going to tackle those mainly tonight, all right? So 2 main causes when we look at ear infections and allergies. First one being poor sinus drainage, what we lovingly refer to as poor plumbing. And then the second one being an inappropriate immune response. So let's look first at the poor sinus drainage. If you have taken your kids to the pediatrician, if you've Googled, if you've talked to a friend, you have probably heard that an ear infection in a child is caused because their ear, like their eustachian tubes, are more horizontal. Therefore, the garbage, the junk, the bad cannot drain from there. This is partially true. Yes, children have more horizontal eustachian tubes, but if that was the true root of the problem, then wouldn't every child have ear infections and allergies, since every child has horizontal ear tubes? And if you're going to use that same logic, then wouldn't that child who has ear infections and allergies, as they grow up, as they get older, their eustachian tubes angle more down. As their eustachian tubes become more angled, we should see those ear infections, those allergies, that asthma should all resolve then, if you're going to use that logic. That's not the case. Gravity plays such a teeny tiny role in draining the garbage from our ears. So the improper drainage of the sinuses is a major cause of illness and allergies. All right. So the whole problem with that is when fluid builds up in our ear canal, it becomes a breeding ground for fluid garbage, for viruses. So about 85% of ear infections are caused by bacteria. No, 85% of ear infections are caused by a virus, which is why an antibiotic is useless. An antibiotic is for bacteria. Why would they work? So the fluid can't drain, so the viruses are frolicking and replicating and multiplying. You have got inflammation, you've got redness, you've got irritation, you've got a kid who pulls on their ears, they've got a fever, they probably have got some sort of other immune response going on, okay? But why? Why can't their ears drain? As chiropractors, we are never satisfied with an answer such as that. Their ears just don't drain. Always looking for deeper. So the ears cannot drain because of tension, tightness, misalignment that occurs in the cervical spine. So cervical spine is really just a fancy schmancy name for your neck, okay? What's hanging out in your neck that's so important? Lots of stuff, people. So first and foremost, we have a really teeny tiny little muscle that hangs out at the top, kind of right in this area here. It's called the tensor veli palatini muscle. The name is not important. What the muscle does is, this muscle's main role is to milk fluid away from the ear canals, all right? This muscle gets its nerve supply from the very top of the spine in the same region. So the muscle becomes irritated when the nerve that supplies it from up here gets shorted. Think electricity shorted. what we as chiropractors call a subluxation. So the muscle is tense and tight, so it's tense and tight around that eustachian tube, nothing can drain, because the nerve supply is compromised because of the subluxation, because of what the roadblock, okay? But why does this tension, tightness, where does that come from? In our office, the most common cause that we see is birth trauma, believe it or not. So if you look at C-sections, if you look at a delivery assisted with forceps, a delivery assisted with vacuum, any physical strain or trauma where a medical doctor is using that head and neck as leverage, they literally twist and pull and crank and yank to bring baby to the world. 95% of the kiddos that walk in our doors who have allergies, asthma, constipation, ear infections, sore throat, that whole nasty cycle fall into that birth category. If you feel comfortable, just out of curiosity, how many of you watching tonight, your families have a child that was birthed C-section or forceps or vacuum, or you had an epidural, or were given Pitocin, anything, any medical intervention that interferes with a process that our body already knows how to do, okay? So there are really three steps that we could talk about when it comes to this infection, all right? So the major one that we see right off the bat is the signs and symptoms, okay? So we've got, ugly writing, sorry, inflammation. We have irritation, all right? Those are gonna be caused by the next cascade down, caused by the infection. And why is the infection there, folks? The infection is there thanks to poor plumbing, okay? So this last region, this last area right here, this is the problem. This is what we want to find. This is what we want to fix. This is what chiropractic does. This is what we do, okay? Medical doctors are going to come right to this top area right here, which is what a family is going to present with in their office. Inflammation, irritation, redness, fever, teething, that. And they're going to say, okay, well, I know what to do with that. We can throw some antibiotics at them. We can put in tubes. We can do surgeries. We need outside-in intervention because your body is broken. Something is up. All right. I want to actually paint another picture for you here. And this one is going to be a little bit more fun. So I want everybody to think of a happy little puppy. All right. So bear with me. Yeah, okay. We have a happy little puppy here, right? Maybe it doesn't look like a happy little puppy. It is a happy little puppy with eyes. Now you can see them. So, happy little puppy, frolic, frolic, frolic. All of a sudden, if you are a troll fan, then you're gonna know what I'm talking about. A big, fat, hairy Bergen comes along, steps on the dog's tail. If you are not a troll fan, you're not gonna know what a Bergen is. A Bergen is like a big Shrek, a big, fat, unhappy, hairy Shrek. So, Bergen steps on the dog's tail. All of a sudden, dog starts barking. Oh my gosh, shut that dog up. That's so annoying. It's terrible. How do we stop it? Okay, well, good. There's the medical intervention. There's options that route. Options are always good. So let's look at our options from the medical standpoint, shall we? So, dog's barking. We can take out the dog's vocal cords. Dog won't be able to make any noise then. No vocal cords, no barking. Okay, that seems okay. Option number 2, we can put a shock collar on the dog. The dog will quickly learn barking bad, quiet good. And stricter behavioral interventions are always the way to get the quickest results, right? Yeah, I hope you sense the sarcasm there. Very much so sarcasm. Third option, let's give the dog some drugs. Let's snow him. If he doesn't know night from day, up from down, he won't be able to bark. He'll just be a happy, sleepy little dog. Fourth option that we have, let's put the dog down. We don't have to hear him bark. And then, you know, we take the dog out of his misery. The poor thing is always barking. Clearly something is wrong. Let's just put the dog down. If you are an animal lover, I'm an animal lover. Those options make me mad. They make me mad for another reason, all right? Chiropractors, people sometimes say chiropractors are doctors of cause. They are always looking for what, kind of the chicken or the egg, what came first. So, chiropractor is not gonna look at the bark and think of it as a separate entity. The bark is not the problem, people. The bark came as a result of the Bergenfoot stepping on the dog's tail. That's the problem. That's what needs to be resolved. This is the poor sinus drainage. This is the heightened immune system. So when you remove the Bergenfoot from the dog's tail, the dog quits barking. The dog goes back to healthy, happy, frolicking. Okay? So when we have, our kids have allergies, ear infections, asthma, tummy issues, headaches, whatever, insert whatever in here, I don't want you to think of it as something that needs to be fixed. That's not the problem. That is your child's body's way of telling you and telling them that something is wrong and a change needs to happen. All right? So we're gonna have Abby post this really cool chart that we have, all right? And it's titled The Effects of Subluxation. And we're gonna put it on here just so you can see it at least. So let's go, where can you see it? Okay, so the cool part about this is, oh, Abby can't get the chart uploaded. All right, well, we will just share it on here and then we will, we'll post it later. Yeah, we'll post it later so you guys can see this. But the really cool thing about this chart is it shows us the nerves in the body, the areas that they supply, what they do, and then in this last column here, it's gonna show us some signs, some symptoms that we might see if the communication between the brain and this part of the body isn't there, if it is not crystal clear, what we call a subluxation. So if you take your kid into the doctor's office, into a medical doctor's office, they are literally going to go down this checklist. Do they have anxiety? Do they have sensory spectrum issues? Do they have speech issues? Do they have depression? Do they have a cough? Do they have a fever? It is a very much so a cookie cutter approach, okay? You have symptom X, or your kid does, excuse me, and so they get medication Y. You have this, it means this, all right? And you wanna know the frustrating thing about it? The meds that they give, the surgeries that they give, a lot of times they work. They work in the sense that the whole main goal is to stop this stuff, okay? If to stop it, to prevent it, to slow it down, whatever, insert whatever negative word you want here. The medicines do a really good job at doing this, but here's the issue. Taking a medicine for a fever or a cough or an ear infection is no different than the check engine light coming on in your car and you're like, meh, let's just cover with tape. If I can't see it, it's not really there, right? The problem's still there, it's just not as glaringly obvious, okay? Pharmaceutical companies, I hate to be the one to tell this to you, do not have your family's best interest at heart. Pharmaceutical companies are not in the business of curing people, of getting your family back to health. Pharmaceutical companies are in the business of creating customers, of generating revenue, and ideally, they want lifelong customers. So if they produce a drug that works, which they do what they say. Your child gets a headache, here's an ibuprofen. Headache goes away. Your child has a tummy ache, here's a Tums, here's some Pepcid. Tummy ache goes away. Oh my gosh, this stuff is miraculous. I'm gonna give my kid this every time they have a tummy ache or headache, and I'm gonna start taking it, and I'm gonna tell all my friends about it. No, that is the pharmaceutical company's bread and butter. They are thriving on that stuff, folks, because not only did they provide some improvement, they've created lifelong customers, which means money in their pocket. Ugh. All right, so where was I gonna, I had something that I was gonna, oh, so what I want you to do with this sheet here, the whole reason why I'm standing 3 inches, can I get any closer? Okay, The whole reason why I am so close in showing this to you is because you don't have to do it right now, especially since we can't post it, so you can't see it besides in this video. I want you to go through this last column, folks. I want you to mark off anything that your child has ever experienced, any sign that they've displayed, any symptom that you have seen, all right? If it's a cough, if it's a sore throat, if it's a tummy ache, if it's a fever, any of them. I want you to go through this sheet here and mark off everything that they have ever experienced. Okay, it's really gonna pull it all together for you. Hey, now I see Dr. T. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. So everybody, like I said, Dr. Tiffany is on here to help us field questions as I get distracted easily. Obviously, you were here 30 seconds ago, you know. So, yes, we're gonna post this later. Where chiropractic is different, you remember how I was telling you how the medical office looks at this last column and they're like, okay, you have this symptom, condition XYZ. Let's give you medicine ABC. Chiropractic is different. Chiropractic looks at this stuff. They look at the barking dog. Oh, I took the bark away. So they take the bark into consideration, but then they look for the Bergen foot. Where is the problem stemming from? The problem isn't this, the superficial stuff that medicine looks to snuff out. The problem is back here, folks, and that's what chiropractors do. That's what the chiropractic adjustment is all about. What the heck? I can't hear Markel. Okay, well, hopefully everybody else can hear me. Oh, and Abby's right here, so she can't tell me if she can hear me. Will someone else comment if you can hear me? If that's the case, this is going to be I don't know how long I've been on here ranting. A wasted 10 minutes? Whatever. Okay, like I said, we are going to post this for you later. And like I said, I want you to go through and mark anything that your kids made. Hey, thank you, people. Okay, I want you to go through that chart, mark down anything that your kid has ever expressed that they have to you, you've ever noticed in them. All right, like I said, it's gonna bring everything together. So, we went through the poor sinus drainage, what it is, why it's there. The second piece of that is the immune system, the suppressed immune system. So in addition to that birth trauma that causes the jamming, the lack of room up in this cervical spine here, there's another piece of it, and it is actually almost more important than the poor sinus drainage, and that is the connection between the nervous system and the immune system, and that immune system not working, not doing its job. Why would the immune system be suppressed? Well, in this very important region up here, folks, is a nerve, and it is called the vagus nerve. There has been tons and tons and tons of research, but the vagus nerve has been shown to be highly important when it comes to controlling inflammation in the immune system. It has also got a huge role in making sure the channels of drainage in our body are constantly open so things and garbage can get out. So when you take something into your ears, eyes, nose, throat, the ENT system, something bad comes in, okay? The body's whole goal is to get it out. So it's going to send it through the lymphatic system. It's going to get it either to the respiratory system to be coughed out or send it down to the digestive system to be expelled. Either way, the body's whole goal is to get rid of it, okay? So when we have something going on, when our immune system is active, that's why our lymph nodes become swollen, tender, inflamed. And you go to the doctor's office and they palpate and they'll tell you, oh, you have swollen and inflamed lymph nodes. You must be fighting something. Well, no crap. The only reason your lymph nodes get swollen and inflamed because your immune system is doing its job. Okay? That's all there is to it. So the cool thing about a chiropractic adjustment, not only does it release some of the tension, the misalignment, all the crap around here, around those eustachian tubes, it also is going to promote the healthy functioning of that vagus nerve, because that vagus nerve is super important in the functioning of the immune system, okay? So at this point, you might be thinking, gosh, she keeps talking about ear infections. I got in here because my kid has got something so much more serious. They've got asthma, ADHD, constipation, diarrhea, all this other stuff. Let me tell you how it's related, because I promise you that it is, okay? Let me just erase my happy little puppy dog here. Beautiful artwork just shot down the drain. Okay, where did I throw? Beautiful, beautiful. So, we start off with that birth trauma that we talked about, that the 95% of the kiddos that walk in our doors have when they have any immune system compromises, okay? So, starts right off the bat, bright and early with birth trauma, folks. That birth trauma jams everything up here. So, not only can nothing drain from the ears, we also now have a crying baby because something's wrong, okay? Then you take them to the medical doctor, they diagnose them with colic. So then we get started on reflux meds. So, from birth trauma, they get labeled as a colicky baby. They also, as we just said, get labeled as having an ear infection. What is the common medical route we have been hammering on for the past 20 minutes? What is their go-to for ear infections, even though they do not work? Antibiotics, ding, ding, ding. So, we've also already learned what's the problem with antibiotics. I thought they are wonderful, and by no means, antibiotics have their place. If I have like C. diff or some nasty poisoning, by all means, give me antibiotics. If I have, I don't know. They don't belong in this talk though, all right? And we've already talked about why. Because they destroy the lining of our gut. They destroy all the bacteria in our gut, the good and the bad. And you wanna know what, folks? You need the good and the bad. You need a gut lining. You need balance there. You have imbalance, so all of a sudden we have tummy issues in our kids. You wanna know what the most common one we see is? Constipation. Pooping's kind of important, folks. You need to get the garbage out. So we see constipation, all right? So we have an unhealthy gut, it's imbalanced, it's not working. Then all of a sudden, because of our immune system, 80% of it is housed in our gut. So then we have a heightened response. We develop sensitivities and allergies, not just to foods, but to pollens, mold, cats, dogs, our boyfriend's parents. That was a joke. I actually really like my boyfriend's parents. I hope everybody knows that's a joke. What was it going? Oh, constipation, allergies. All right. And then from there, folks, the cascade transcends into the other stuff that you're looking for. ADHD, autism, somatosensory stuff. So really, ADHD, autism. So really, we are not just talking about ear infections and allergies. Ear infections and allergies are the precursors that lead to this whole cascade of terrible ugliness. Just not good, okay? So we are gonna have Miss Abby post. We have a free quiz for you, if you will. So she's actually gonna post a link for you. The link is going to take you to somewhere else on Facebook. You're already on Facebook. Going to take you somewhere else on Facebook. It's going to have you put in your email address, and then we have a quiz and the quiz is you don't have to worry about not having studied. It's not like that. The quiz is all designed to teach you different techniques, different ways to assess how healthy your child is, okay? It's going to talk about how they eat, how they think, how they drink, how they sleep, how they move, that being exercise, and how they poop. Because it's all important, it's all related, and it is all about how your child experiences life and all of it, okay? So, we also talked about why the drugs and the surgeries don't have the lasting effect, don't have the permanent ongoing solution, because they look at the very last, and obviously this is a very long cascade and really can be broken down into each one of these components on their own. The medical realm looks at this last and doesn't care about the cascade that happened before it. How do we fix ADHD? How do we fix autism? Well, here's some Adderall. Never mind that is in the same drug class as cocaine. Let's give it to a 9-year-old. That seems like a great idea. So, if all of this wasn't enough to convince you that chiropractic is the health advantage that your family is missing, that you guys need, I have some awesome stories to share with you. 2, actually. The first one being a 9-year-old girl who came to our office. She was on 10 milligrams of Prozac, just a stress ball. Immune system was tanked. She had strep, she had ear infections, she had bladder infections, she had pneumonia, also had some problems with bedwetting. And then this is what her mom shared with us. And clearly I don't have this memorized, I'm sorry, so I don't want to misquote, so I'm just going to read this off. Don't judge me, Abby. She has always dealt with ear infections, strep throat, pneumonia, bladder infections, bedwetting, and anxiety. She was even on 10 milligrams of Prozac. In the last 9 months, she has not been sick, no antibiotics, no bedwetting, and most importantly, no meds for anxiety. Another story for you, 4-year-old girl who came to our office. At 4 years old, she had already had 2 sinus surgeries, folks, 2. Was taking 8+ medications a day. Was having night terrors, was extremely moody, had her own host of immune concerns. And this is what her mom had to say. Our daughter was diagnosed with chronic sinus infection and seasonal allergies prior to the age of 2. By 26 months of age, she had underwent 2 sinus surgeries and was taking 8+ medications a day. She was experiencing night terrors 3 times a week and would have meltdowns nonstop. A family member suggested we try chiropractic, and it was the best decision we could have made for her. Not only have we seen an improvement in her sinus and allergies, but the night terrors have completely gone away, and her mood swings have significantly improved. The best part of all is that she's completely off all medications and has not been to her ENT since. Does this sound like what your family's missing? Does this sound like what you've been looking for? Are you watching this video thinking, gosh, I do not want to give my child another round of antibiotics. My God, I do not want to put them out for another surgery. I wish that there was another option. I wish that there was something safe, scientifically proven, drug-free, natural, something that I could do. Enter in chiropractic, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We are ready to help. We are excited to help. 701-893-3150. We have new patient times available. We're so ready. We're so ready to change this garbage. Oh, I don't ever do that. That's a huge pet peeve when people erase dry markers with their hands. That's not how I wanted to close this though. I wanted to close this by saying that if you want to end the cycle of sickness and you're ready to change it out with this cycle of health, what are you saying right now?
Message us on Facebook.
Follow the
Message us.
Oh, yes. And also message us on Facebook on Healing Touch. We're always on here, so feel free to message us. But if your family is ready to break this cycle of sickness and replace it with a cycle of health, you're ready. You are ready, and we are here to help. Because that's all that we are about at Healing Touch Chiropractic. And that's what pediatric chiropractic is all about, okay? We are ready. We're excited to connect. Thanks so much for tuning in. Drive carefully.